Did you see her picture?
No.
Yeah.
Something to do with the Libby Museum, right?
Libby.
Yeah.
Hey, there's owls at the Libby today.
Yes.
Live
Good
owls
luck.
and Swan
Yeah.
Lakes, or?
Yeah.
Are you all set to go? Camera all set to go?
All set.
Board ready to go?
Mhm.
You ready to go? Get your pen all warmed up?
Let's try again next week.
It's Monday, July 3rd. I'd like to call the Town of Tuftonboro Board of Selectmen weekly meeting to order. Let's take a moment to remember July 4th for those people who have made it possible for us to do what we do, and those that currently do that. Would you please join me so we can make the pledge? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Not to rush it, but happy 4th to everybody. Public input?
I just wanted to follow up on Durgin Road is paved, it's very nice. And we noticed that people were driving like 55 miles an hour because it's so smooth.
That's nice.
So I called Chief Shagoury, and he said yes, that tends to happen. And he was going to maybe move the speed trailer over. But he did send over, I forget who drives the Explorer, but I saw parked out in Lloyd's brother's driveway, so hopefully that'll maybe slow people down. But it is actually 35, and
It happens every time a road gets repaved, you know, it's nice and smooth and flat, and people just open up. It
yeah,
happened last year on the mountain road, Italy.
It's
Yeah.
a trade-off, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
especially notice like the motorcycles, because they have to kind of gun it to get to the top of the hill. And then when they hit the top of the hills, so. But I appreciated, the reason I wanted to say is I appreciated speaking to Chief Shagoury, and seemed like he was taking some action, so.
We'll move on to appointments. It was my understanding the road agent was going to be here to talk about a couple of issues.
They didn't come back to me.
Okay.
So no appointment.
No appointments.
Review and approve minutes. The first one will be the 2:30 p.m. Monday, June 26th meeting.
I'll move we approve them.
I've got a couple of things
Okay.
on the second page.
Yes.
The second paragraph, where it says, "I signed the residential tenting permit."
Oh, yeah. It should be the
Huh?
selectmen, it should be the selectmen's, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I may have moved that we sign it, but
I understand.
I'm sure I didn't sign it. The other thing, further down that paragraph, notice of appointment for Mark Howard, this is an alternate member, right? Of the
Yes.
TAC, alternate member.
That's correct, that I put a new one in for this meeting,
Yes.
but at the last meeting, I did it as a member, as a mistake.
Yes.
Oh,
You know
I
what I
see,
mean?
okay,
So,
so
yeah.
that's, all
That
right,
was
so
my
that is,
mistake. So the new minutes will reflect that.
right, okay. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
I only had that one thing. I'll accept your motion, Chip. Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes 3-0. There was a draft for a June 26th non-public meeting.
Move approval?
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes
And we
3-0.
never sealed those.
We didn't seal it, no.
Right.
Let's go to signature file, the red folder. This is inventory taxable property form 2 for 2018. Per rod, it's not necessary. We use permits to track updates. I will not be using the PA 28 form. Do we still have to sign this to let them know?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
You- Go ahead and sign it.
Yep.
I'll sign it last.
This is a self-limiting pen.
Yeah. The old days, you put your X for the witness, right?
I'm gonna start doing that, just an X.
Yeah.
This is from our tax collector, deals with lot 41-3-16. They owe the town yield tax.
Move approval.
I'll
Second.
second.
All those in favor say
Aye.
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 Passes 3-0. There's 2 places, I believe. Next is notice of appointment from Michael Phelps to re-up him on the Conservation Commission through June 2020. Is there a motion?
So move.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Next is what we just talked about. This is for Mark Howard as an alternate member to the Lakes Region Planning Transportation Technical Advisory Committee. Previous form was incorrectly. We appointed him as a member rather than an alternate member. So I move the change.
Second.
All those in favor, say
Aye.
aye.
Do we have a non-public for appointments today?
Pardon?
Are we having a non-public for appointments today?
I think we need to.
Yeah.
If you want, yes.
Well,
We can have a non-public anytime we're in a legal meeting.
thank you.
Next is, this is July 3rd, and I'll read the letter that we want to send to the commissioners. We received the county's request for semi-annual payments of county taxes by July 17 and December 17. We concur that this is a reasonable request. However, for budgetary reasons, we would not be able to change our payment procedures at this time. We would need a vote at the next town meeting authorizing this change and addressing any impact to the town's budget. We also need an affirmative vote by the county delegation and agreement that this new semi-annual payment program would be implemented county-wide. We would enjoy further conversation and correspondence regarding the proposal. You were very eloquent, Don.
Well worded.
And with your background as a county commissioner,
I was pretty gentle. I'll move that we sign it.
is there,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Actually, you were well spoken. I need some direction from the board. We have 3 documents that have to deal with map 65-3-2. 2 are public, I know. 1 is in this file here. It has to do with yield tax levy, which is due. And you take a look at it. The person has filed another intent.
Yeah.
And the property also, there's a meeting July 18th with an individual from DRA on this property for
I cannot take it.
a parallel matter. First of all, is it
DRA?
all-
What do they
Yes,
have to do with property?
excavation permits.
Okay.
My question is, how much of this is public information? I'm not looking to embarrass the landowner, but there's some, I want to be as kind as possible. There's some financial responsibilities here we have to the town, but I don't want to be mean-spirited, okay? Who would like to speak?
This is the public document.
Okay.
I move approval of the yield tax for 65-3-2 in the amount of $1,286.27.
I'll second.
Okay? All those in favor say aye. Should we-
Aye.
Do you need,
I was just gonna say, if you don't mind me adding to the, if it's okay, to
okay,
explain that a
can we
little bit.
allow some discussion here? Go
Mhm.
ahead.
You're right, there was some information in the folder for you, that these documents are an update to that. The only notary did what DRA requested, so they are in the clear now, if that
Okay.
makes sense. So they'll be taxed for what they cut, and then they want to continue to cut, so they put in another intense.
Okay.
I work with DRA on those yield tax levies, so they do timber as well, Chip. It's timber and gravel I work with the DRA on.
Okay.
So they did what they were asked, and this is exactly what DRA asked them to do.
Well, that's important,
Yeah.
that that be documented, that no one
Yeah.
thinks we're picking on anybody.
Yeah.
Did we vote on this one yet?
Yeah, we did vote on this one.
Yeah,
Okay.
we did.
What was the issue? I mean, why did DRA get involved?
This was my fault as well, but extension they filed an extension to cut because they were going past, the report of cuts are due May 15th.
Right.
This was about May 3rd or so, they put an extension in. And to be honest with you, I thought, since it was before the deadline, that it was fine. I did not know that an extension was supposed to be filed by March 31st. So DRA came in, saw them still cutting, and we cleared it all up, and, you know, and so that's how, misunderstanding.
No question of quantities.
Nothing was mentioned. I haven't sent that to DRA yet, though, so we'll see. I mean, I will send all that to them.
In a related item, lot 65-3-2, this is an intent to cut. Is there a motion?
So move.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you for your patience, board members.
Not gonna be much left.
I haven't intended to.
You running out of ink or you all set?
No, I'm good, it just shuts itself off. And,
You?
yeah, no, I'm good. I have to learn to deal with it.
Okay.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to continued business. There were 2 items, Hurlbut Trust.
Yeah, I went to the probate court on Friday, and retrieved the annual reports for the last 10 years. I put a call into Judge Shagoury for the separate meeting this week and next, although it's kind of vacation these days.
Yeah.
My reading of the trust and the legal minds that surround these reading of the trust is it does have to include a member of the select board from Tuftonboro. So, and I couldn't see, well, there was no means that could be thought of to change that language after the trust was established. So unless something else has happened, but I'll find out from.
Okay, can you stay on top of that?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on Hurlbut Trust? Next is oil and diesel pricing, and you've done the research, Karen, and you reduced to writing. The recommendation is that we continue with Carroll County for oil and diesel, that we lock it in for a full-year contract since it was offered rather than the seasonal contract, and it would be for oil $1.79.99 and diesel $0.15 over cost.
Yeah, that's right.
And clarify for me the note.
Mhm. Oh, regarding taxes?
I guess I should read it so that people know what we're talking about.
Okay.
Taxes are charged to Carroll County Oil when they purchase diesel for us, even though their purchase is for a municipality. Currently, Carroll County Oil pays the state tax and it submits the appropriate paperwork for reimbursement rather than charge the expense to the town. Federal tax is charged back to the town as Carroll County Oil. And this is where I got confused because I thought the bill was going to the county.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Is unable to receive reimbursements for this. Mike offered to assist the town with the federal reimbursements process. The federal taxes equal approximately $200 to $300 a year. So is the price of $1.79.9 includes the taxation?
I understood the taxation, and I apologize if I didn't write it. I think that was just for diesel. I understood that was just for diesel.
Okay. Because there's no tax on heating fuel.
Right.
Right, it's just the diesel, I understood.
It's, yeah.
So we're
Road-
getting.
Road use tax.
So we're
on-
getting diesel delivered to the road agent in this
Fire
contract as
station.
well?
I can tell you,
Or the
actually, I
fire
can tell you
station,
that.
sorry.
Fire station is delivered to Melvin.
On-road diesel to the fire station, yeah, Melvin, and then off-road to the transfer station.
Okay. So the only taxation would be on the on-road diesel?
I could clarify that,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I don't know enough about
Yes.
it. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I'm clear on it.
All
I
right.
think if
Okay.
we adjust the note to read Carroll County Oil in all
Sure.
cases, it would make it a lot clearer for everybody.
Yeah, that's a good point for the county, yep, okay.
Any other thoughts or questions, Bill?
I move approval of one-year agreement.
I'll second.
With Carroll County Oil for oil and diesel.
Effective what date?
Whatever.
Yeah, whenever you want to do it.
Whatever
I
date.
think it's effective
I can do it today,
July.
actually.
Effective today.
Do we have to sign something?
He'll get it all ready for us, yeah, but I just need to call him today with a verbal, okay?
No.
and then-
So I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes 3-0. Do you have any other continued business?
Not that I can think of.
The application for state bridge aid
Right.
that we got the clarification on, I believe we need to act on that today. And we got some further information in from HEB on that, including an adjusted form for signature. There's someplace.
Yeah, so that was in the green file. I thought.
Yep. Yep. And I had one on my files here.
I don't think I did.
I think there's some copies of correspondence, maybe, should
Let
be.
me go through the correspondence and we'll pull it
I
up when
think
we
it's
get to
like
it.
All right. Yep.
My only question on that was, it mentions the CIP, but it still mentions appropriated. Were
Did
you
you-
comfortable with
did
how
you-
they worded it?
What they did is they lined out. All right, here we go. This is what I was talking about. They lined out, raised and appropriated, put listed in
Oh.
the CIP. I'm perfectly comfortable with that, so there's no ambiguity.
Yeah, as long
All
as.
right, and
I don't know why-
she did identify in her memo, that that's acceptable as a indication of the town's commitment. So, you want to deal with those now, or you want to wait?
Up to you.
Uh,
I'll wait.
You'll wait.
Why, no, why wait?
Oh, I agree, why wait?
Excuse me.
So what we have here is an application for State Bridge 8 construction for Sodom Road and one for Tuftonboro Neck Road. And this is, the purpose of this is to formally get us on the State Bridge Aid list. We got the first part of that done, I think, 2 or 3 years ago, in getting them to give us an estimate. But I'll read the wording of the first line of each of these. Has been altered to say that the municipality of Tuftonboro has listed in the CIP, and in the case of Sodom Road, $47,000 as its share of the cost for rehabilitating the bridge on Sodom Road. And the other one is similar wording for the Tuftonboro Neck Bridge. So
There was a slight difference.
one is a replacement, and the other one's a rehabilitation. Yeah.
At the last meeting, I pointed out that in the two forms the state of New Hampshire have sent us, is a $7,000 difference. Now,
Right.
out of almost $1 million, that's insignificant, but I don't know if that's important. The
I
other,
think the final accounting happens a lot closer to the
Right.
construction.
right. It's my understanding, take a step back, that HEB was vigilant and picked up the date that it was penciled in the CIP, way out there. The reason why the dates have changed is the last biennium, the state of New Hampshire made no money available for any bridges. And that's merely a placeholder.
Mhm.
You know from your experience
Right.
with the CIP. I'm not saying it's a typo, it's just that it's a placeholder.
We all work with our best information as to when things might happen in the future, but you can't know with certainty that in 2021 or 2025 something might happen. And I have to believe that if a circumstance changes, such as, let's say, the Tuftonboro Neck Bridge suddenly becomes unusable,
Mhm.
that there ain't going to be a 10-year wait to get it done. That there will be a way to accelerate that in the process and get to it. But it is important that we get it on the list for planning purposes.
There was another couple issues I wanted to bring up, but
Go
I'll
ahead.
wait until you speak.
Yep, no, yep.
I've had the advantage of being in this office for a few years and being on the budget committee for a few years, and this is not aimed at any particular company. But for the record, I've had an excellent relationship with the HEB. Ben Ladd and I negotiated, spent some time in Conway and found these people reasonable to work with and whatever. But HEB was involved in Zadidar Farms, and we ended up paving the road, and somehow there was confusion. I'm not saying it was HEB, but then there was High Street that the state insisted on doing. I was only on the budget committee, and it didn't get done in an appropriate time. And then there was a $35,000 surcharge. Again, HEB was involved. Then the County Road Bridge. Maybe they just drew the short straw again, but some company went bankrupt and the state had issues and whatnot. And then the fourth instance is, it took 2 or 3 years And there are some individuals concerned with the Lang Pond Road project. Still to this day is, we had to redo the engineering, and the key there is, and on this one here, I have to say, as a non-expert, why was there an engineered project to raise the entire road 4 feet when it was the river by the church that was blocked? And it was a citizen committee that researched what the legal height is, and they went down on their own and spent about a year pulling pallets and cement blocks and debris out. And you know, a project that was well over $200,000 or $300,000 ended up a $147,000 project. So I'm just wondering, do we put out for bids an engineering company to do this? We've heard from two, so.
But once we get a lot closer to building the bridge, we have to put out for bid. I don't see any way around that. And, you know, historical references can be brought up at that point in time. But we awarded the contract to the company that went bankrupt. The selectmen did, not HEB. HEB didn't select that company. So I think it behooves us as a board, or whoever's on the board at the time, to really do some due diligence before they award things.
I think that's an interesting point, and the reason I brought it up is, you know, you have an interesting way of looking at things, and I appreciate that. So, again, it's nothing personal aimed at anybody. But
Well, they're all a little heavy-handed, I think, but that's just a negotiating position, so.
the other thing is, and they did it, we did it at Lang Pond, was that we did it here. There's actually an independent firm. It was Norway Plains the last time. That is our agent that does the inspection and makes sure all the paperwork is correct. And they evidently did a good job because they worked with L.A. Drew and HEB on Lang Pond Road, and a warrant article for $160,000. The project came in at $147,000. So, thank you for listening. But that doesn't impact on going forward and getting our ore in the water,
Right.
to save our place in line. You know, there's about 2,000 bridges that are in the same state of repair. So,
Well, a little action by our representatives would be helpful. You know, I haven't seen hide nor hair of the two of them, but I'm sure they'll show up one of these
Yep.
lovely days. So we got a
So,
motion?
and so I move that we approve applications for state bridge aid for the Sodom Road Bridge and the Tuftonboro Neck Bridge.
I'll second that.
is there any further discussion? We all set to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you for your vigilance.
Yep. And I do, I think I would be remiss in not mentioning with respect to HEB, yes, we've had some issues in the past. They were the ones that said, hey guys, we noticed that you're talking about doing these bridges, and oh, by the way, you are not on the list yet, even though you may think you are. So I appreciate the fact that they
Sure.
came and made us aware of that.
I will leave this with the correspondence.
Yep.
All set?
Yep.
We're still on Selectmen's updates. Go ahead.
Um, mentioned last week that we had the spring milfoil survey results. Our contractor started working last Thursday around the docks at 19 Mile Bay, and then Friday in the basin off of Winter Harbor. And they're going to be, they anticipate they'll be in Winter Harbor Basin at least one more day. And then after the 4th, we'll be harvesting in Melvin Village Marina, and then we should be done for our first harvest.
Harvesting,
Well,
that's a kind term.
it's digging the plants out by the root ball.
Yeah.
So,
It does become complex at Stockman's.
There was a news report this morning on the radio that a law has been passed regarding invasive species and odors. So maybe we should bring everybody up to speed on that once it hits the presses. But
Is that the one about when you pull it out of the water, you have to let it drain properly or
the
something?
boat has to be completely dry before you relaunch it, and the trailer.
and that's not new this year. That may have just gone into effect, but that legislation was passed.
Maybe it was just
Yeah. Might
went
have
into
been
effect
affected,
July
right.
1st, maybe.
And one of the things that the lake hosts do as people launch and recover their boats at Union Wharf and at Mirror Lake and where there's lake host up at Melvin is make sure that people understand that.
Yeah.
So that's all I have.
Any updates do you have?
I'm good.
I'm working on an update right now. Met with River Reach. That's the dock that they're rebuilding next to our boat ramp, and we own a half a dock. It was an excellent meeting. I have a map of the area. I have the correspondence, and I'll have that for the next meeting. What's interesting there is the landowner down by the old boathouse that was rebuilt, we'd have a permit to dredge, and they're working, you know, their property and their docks, and River Reach is updating their docks, and we're doing something with the boat ramp, and, you know, you have a combination of private and civic cooperation here, so.
Is there a dredge going on down there?
Not yet, but there's a permit for next, it has already been filed, and it's in the process, and we had a copy of it last week under the correspondence. I think you were selectman, remember when the river flooded or something like that, and I think it was that association and the town split it 35-10, I think, and did some dredging down there and rehabilitated the waterway. So it's been a cooperative effort over the decades.
With respect to that dock that the town owns,
Mhm.
I don't know that we have a sign on it, but perhaps we should have one that says something like, public dock, 15-minute
Or
loading,
for
unloading.
launching purposes
Yeah.
only?
Yeah, so that,
Sure.
so that people are aware that that dock is there for their use as they're
Mhm.
putting their boat in or taking it out. I know a lot of folks just time up back down along the wall, but that one side of the dock is there for,
Yeah, be easy to get in and out.
Yep.
of the wall. Bulkhead, as they call it.
yep.
Mirror Lake Protective Association, you're going to verify the correct date and time of the meeting for me?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Good. On Wednesday at 5:30, I'll be meeting with the Mirror Lake Watershed Committee, and it's just their annual review. Could you please verify that the road agent will be there? They have some questions for him, non-adversarially, but they want to work with him and support his efforts.
I did invite him.
I know he's been working there. It's 5:30 at the town hall, and they won't be long. And again, please emphasize it's non-adversarial. He's been a good partner with the committee. I sent a note to Chief Shagoury. Would he be willing to develop a sample no parking ordinance as a follow-up to what we discussed in the Board of Selectmen for Union Wharf? It was pointed out to me by a citizen, even as you go out on the dock, the signs have two different sets of times of when people can park their boats and when they can't. So I just asked him at his convenience, would he come up with a sample for us. We got a letter that is in our correspondence from Carol Miller. She has made some contact with people in the old TimeWarner hierarchy, and I've asked Clay to continue to job one, who used to work on his computer line up there. He seems to be making some progress. So that's that.
I didn't notice that there was any meeting scheduled in her correspondence, and I thought that was what we had asked for.
I think that was phase 2, and we can ask for that, yes.
I did send a letter from you
Yeah.
folks. I sent the Spectrum one, but
Yeah.
I think just last week.
Sure.
Would it be appropriate for the selectmen, excuse me, to meet in a work session with the road agent? His budget is over 66%, and we're only 50% through the year. And I don't mean this adversarially, but he's already taken a good dent out of his summer budget, and I want to support him if he needs to rethink some of his projects. You mentioned about striping, for example, or mowing. I have an open mind, but it's been a tough year, and I sort of like the idea, and I don't know if it was his idea or one of ours, that, okay, let's meet every 2 weeks and deal with
Right.
1 or 2 or 3 issues, so, we're not, it's not feast or famine. But,
Yeah.
Again, I'm trying to be as proactive and professional, as friendly as I can be.
Well, given the tracking of the budget currently, I don't see any way in the world it's going to stay on the budget, or even within its budget this year. So we may have to be a little more active in our management advice. So, every 2 weeks might not be a bad idea. I'm a little less sanguine about having a meeting specifically for him, because I think that just puts him into a position where he feels like he's being isolated.
So
I'd rather
why don't
just
we put it on the agenda for next Monday's meeting?
Okay.
As part of the business for the...
Should we put him down for 20 or 30 minutes? I mean, it's only fair to...
Well, I don't think you can put him down for 20 or 30 minutes on the first meeting, because you haven't established the protocol.
Would it be appropriate?
So if we're going to look at specific issues in the budget, he needs to be aware of that before it comes.
Yes. That's correspondence right here. Okay, let's go to it. Trash at beach. One possible solution, Andy writes, is a camera on the trash. There are some that integrate a camera into a motion-activated floodlight. The other option is just what they call an IP-based camera. It would need to record video without audio and allow web access to the camera and a DVR to be effective. Jack has come up with some information that he's passed directly on to the chief. I haven't seen it, but they're working together. This is a picture of it. Totally inappropriate. I'm not looking for silver medal or anything, but I drive by there occasionally, and about 3 weeks ago, someone had deposited a car battery, just tipped it over and threw it on the side, so I picked it up and took it to the transfer station. Anybody would do that. But the trash is becoming a problem. Richie, who did it before, and Bill, who does it now, they're down there sometimes twice a day, or days when the transfer station isn't open, and picking up the area, they're recycling. We have a couple dedicated people that have worked on it. And I know several members of the rec committee over the years, for years, have gone down and raked and cleaned up and recycled. But this here, and is not appropriate.
Well, and I'm not averse to having a camera. I mean, spend a little time somewhere other than America, and there's cameras everywhere.
Yes.
So it's not as invasive as people might think. But I see that as criminal. This is a public beach, and people are doing that sort of activity.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know who it is, we don't know when it was, so I think we need to get a handle on
It has been an ongoing problem over the years, and the trash collectors tell me that, and in the past, they'll go through and pull out personal trash and get an envelope or something, and Andy or the officer on duty will make a call, and, they handle those cases one at a time and resolve it that way. But, you're right, this is, it's the same thing we bumped into up until 2 years ago. Someone would buy their beer here at the store, and you could see when they finished the first can, just beyond Billy Stockman's.
Or just be,
Right.
Yeah.
The third can was just beyond my house.
Yes.
Could you describe what's in that photo? Since
It's public information. You're
We're talking about it.
Pass it right to her.
We're making it sound worse than it is.
The,
Oh, for the
And
camera.
I don't know by looking at the
That's all
picture
trash.
if that's the way it started out there, or if it was all in the bag and an animal got it.
Household trash.
Well, I'm not about
Spread
to
it,
blame
but-
the wild creatures of
No,
Tuftonboro for the
but-
bad acts of some
No,
trash person.
but regardless of whether it was just scattered around or left there, the trash container at the beach is for the use of people that are at the beach with trash that's generated while they're at the beach. It's not for the disposal of household trash or stuff that comes from someplace else.
On the issue of cameras, past boards have been hesitant to just put up cameras surreptitiously. On the other hand, I know Clay Gallagher was thinking about getting a camera, and he has a place where he could put it, just so he could catch the people that like to drop TVs off
Well,
bags of garbage. So maybe
I think a camera-
maybe it's time that we invest in one.
A camera may be appropriate, but when you put up a camera, you always put up a sign that says,
You're being watched.
right, this area monitored by video, because it's the deterrence of the camera, the idea that somebody can be observed that makes it work. So, Chief Shagoury is working on that.
Yes.
Right.
Will you ask him to continue to?
Yeah.
And he can check with Jack and with Clay, who have done some research and have some input. And, maybe it's a piece of equipment for a minimum amount of dollars, can be used 2 or 3 different places.
Okay.
But I like your comments. So. Are we all set on that issue there? I'm starting to do correspondence. Do you have any
I'm good.
updates?
I'll let you know as we go along.
Okay. Correspondence. This is from Carol Miller, talking about dealing with Melinda Poor at
The duplicate pool.
yes, all the issues. Okay. I have just correspondence, no action is needed, about 7 or 8 things, and just the normal correspondence that we have. Any other correspondence you folks want to talk about? Under other business, have some items in here to discuss.
Yeah, non-public,
Okay.
yeah.
Any other business?
We're gonna notice the meeting on Saturday at Radigan Island.
It has been.
Yep.
It has been noticed?
Yes.
Okay.
If there's more than 2 of us there, these people know where we are, so. Are you guys going?
Yep.
I am.
Yeah, why not? Free boat ride.
Nice bunch of people.
I'm working with the Saki.
That's
Pay
right.
good money for that.
That's right. And coffee and donuts.
Donuts?
Yeah,
really?
they got
Oh,
donuts,
Nice.
yes.
Oh, yes.
And I believe Jack is going to be joining us.
Of course he
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Donuts and coffee. The chief will be with us, probably driving the boat.
One of his guys will be here.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have no further business to do in public. There's been a request for non-public. Is there a motion to go into non-public at this time?
Do you want to do any public input before we do that? Because we're going
Yeah.
to throw them out.
Okay.
I just
I'm
have
sorry,
a-
go ahead.
Okay, I just have a question. The federal government has a voter fraud investigation. And some states have said, we will send you what is public information, but not what is private information. And they are asking, and they will ask Tuftonboro for residents' last 4 digits of a social security number, birth dates, voter history for as long as you have a history, and it's unprecedented, and I just don't know where Tuftonboro fits in this.
Do you have some paperwork or you could share with us?
Well, I was just reading online, and I read that Governor Sununu was supporting this. I don't know, I haven't heard anything about what's happening from individual towns.
Would it be the Secretary of State?
Yeah.
Secretary of State.
Gardner's gonna come
Yeah.
weigh in on
Bill
it.
Gardner.
I heard he's on the commission, the federal commission.
Did you have a question, just a comment?
I was just wondering if the selectmen play a role in this at all, in
It's-
talking to your
My
voter,
understanding is
Yeah.
it's a request from the state, not from the
so
municipality.
it's only a state issue.
And the state keeps voter records.
Thank God, because those, 4,000 Mexicans that came and voted for me, I'd never be here without them.
That's how it happened.
Yeah,
Are we all
Too
set?
late now.
You had to import them.
yeah.
Okay.
I support this investigation.
There you
Okay.
go.
Do we need to take a break or?
Could I just clarify what was the price for the diesel?
Oh, yeah.
179.9.
No, it's 15
Oh.
cents over
Cost.
cost,
15 cents over cost, okay, that's what I was.
over their cost, right?
Over,
Which is currently a certain price.
So you didn't talk
Change.
about an oil price.
Yeah, 179.9.
Okay, so I
Yes.
had my arrow to oil, but then what, of the diesel, all you said was
It's
Point.
going to be 15 cents above what they pay for.
so it's gonna fluctuate over the year?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
okay.
And what was the beach that had the trash?
19 Mile Bay. Or Mile Bay, as the kids used to say.
Mhm.
Oh, I had another question about the bridges, because there was that other engineering company that came and gave you, it appeared to be extensive information on the bridges and their
Mhm.
status,
Mhm.
and they sounded a little worrisome. And what HEB was saying was that, okay, so you get on that list, but that could be 2025 or 2030. So what happens in between with the repairs that need to be done now? I mean, he described them in detail.
In my mind, the question is, at what point do you have to do work on the bridge
Yeah.
to maintain the safety? And there's a question mark there.
Yeah.
Now,
2025 is so long.
right,
Yeah.
right. If, if some repair work has to be done before there's state money available, then, and you can't influence the participation, then I think it just goes out of town funds. But I believe there's horse trading that goes on all the time. So if we had a bridge that had a huge problem come up, is there a way for things to get moved around on the list? I think there might be. But the key is you gotta get in line, which is what we're doing with the applications.
You've gotten in line, but it sounded as if there was some prevention work.
Right, and I
Think about
think the general repairs prevention work, if you will, is a warrant article material. It's not, we're responsible for keeping the roads open.
No, if there's an accident and takes out a guardrail,
You
there's a way of making that repair, just like there is on a regular road.
So if you became aware of something that was happening
Right.
that you could anticipate, you might have a warrant article.
Right.
And the state is, I'm not sure if it's every year or every other year, physically the experts come and get under the bridge and view it and give us a report every year.
Okay.
When the state says it's a red listed bridge, they're not saying it's about ready to fall in tomorrow. There's a program. It's sort of like how much stuff goes in the environment that's bad. You know, they take a certain thing and then cut it in half or double it or whatever. There's a formula there. So.
The problem with the neck road bridge is that there's no alternative route.
Right.
So, heavy truck traffic can be, routed around problem bridges generally, but in that particular
That's true.
case, that's the only way in.
Yeah, and that was the one they said that should take priority because of that reason.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Problem
So we're all
for
set
today.
to-
Go on eBay and find one of those
Is there a motion?
pontoon bridges.
Yep.
Is there a motion
So moved.
to go into?
To go into non-public, yep. And that's,
I'll research the.
Yeah.
For
Okay.
personnel discussion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
I'll be, yes.
Marcus, yes.
Wade, yes.
I,
You want to take just a moment, let people pack up? Thank you for your time.
So it's to discuss personnel?
yeah, we have to make,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a personnel issue.
Here you go.
Have a good day.
Thank you, and have a good 4th.
Yep.
Oh, did you see
And a
the
good
sign
fifth.
stenciled in, the Wolfboro stenciled in on checking milfoil? The paper put the picture in, they did it like
Oh,
huge, but over by Mass Landing, they stenciled in.
B.G. Hodges had a great idea for
Yeah.
those Wolfboro signs, where it says Wolfboro, the oldest summer resort in America. You only have to change one letter, and it really means something. You change the L to a D in oldest. It's the oddest.
That's PG, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yes, it is.
Sense of humor.
Anyway, I thought you probably appreciated that because it's this big and they're telling people as they go into the dock.
yep,
Check your boats.
yep. Well, that's,
Yeah.
yes, it needs to be done, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Voters. Those are straw hats, not a voter. Okay.